So if you're new to the channel, I'm Adrian. Kiwi is my bird, and he is currently over there having some broccoli for breakfast. Thanks for popping in. Anyways, so today I wanted to show you guys something of a very long-term project. At the beginning of the year, I talked about how I wanted to finish up some whips, and a couple of the whips I have, only like maybe 2 or 3 of them are extremely long-term projects. And so I wanted to show you guys one of them today. To do that, I will have to turn the camera around. And it is actually called crochet beaded rope. Now, I do have a tutorial on how to do this, which I will link up here if anybody is interested in seeing it, because the beads that I am using for this project are actually, they're very tiny, and so I don't know that you guys will be able to see what it is I'm actually doing. However, in the tutorial on how I show you how to do this, I use larger plastic beads and some weight for cotton yarn. So yeah, I am going to switch the camera around and show you guys what I've been working on. I think this project I've been working on now for at least 2 years, maybe a little less. Yeah, 1.5 years to 2 years, somewhere's around in there. Alright guys, so this is what we call, and this is zoomed in a lot, this is crochet beaded rope. I've been working on this for, like I said, approximately 1.5 years on and off. Let me see. And it's about 8 inches long. Really, if I wanted to cut it off here, I probably could and make a bracelet out of it. Which is interesting to know. I might actually do that because it seems like I've been working on this bracelet for forever. So I'm gonna pull this up just a little bit. So that's what it looks like zoomed in. I'm using 11-aught seed beads. If you're not familiar with beads, that probably means nothing to you. But for this project, I am actually using some yarn, I think it's doily yarn. It's crochet thread that I found at the thrift store. I know it's ancient. It says 3-cord crochet, and it was just one that I picked up at the thrift store. It is extremely thin. You can see it's very, very, very thin. It's a cotton yarn, and I am using a 0.75 millimeter hook to do this. And actually, since it's about 8 inches long, I could probably take off, you know, a couple of rows and turn it into a bracelet. But I don't know, you guys can let me know in the comments below. Should I take out a couple rows and do like a 7.5 to 8 inch bracelet, or should I just keep going and finish all of the beads and potentially make it a necklace? The way this is done, you have to thread all of your beads on to your yarn, or your, in my case, crochet thread. And I'll show you guys how I do it here in a minute. but I really don't have too many beads left. I'm almost completely done. I think originally I had about 17 grams worth of beads, and this is what I have left. So I don't know, that may be enough to get me to, I would say, 10 at the most inches. So I'm thinking probably the best option would be actually to take a couple of rows out and turn this into a bracelet. These beads are actually from artbeads.com, which I will link below, and it was a vial of beads, what do they call it? A designer's mix, which basically means a specific designer went in and picked these colors out, and they sell it as a mix. You can see there's some copper. Let me see if I can get this camera to, there it goes. You can see there is some coppers in here. There are several different shades of blue. There's kind of pearl there that is a shade of blue. These ones here, I don't know, these ones right here are actually clear, but the inside of the bead is lined in a shade of blue. So, and I think this particular mix was something seafoam, something like that. It's showing up, the beads are showing up a lot more blue in the camera than what they are. They kind of have like a green seafoam. I don't know if you guys will be able to see them. I'm having to get my camera to readjust periodically. These here, these are like a teal color, but on camera they're showing up very blue. But overall, I mean, it's a blue bracelet. I'm gonna work up a few stitches, and oh wow, you guys can like really see my hands. I'm gonna work up a few stitches, and hopefully you guys will be able to see why this has taken me so long to make. I didn't realize that I was already at 8 inches, though. If I'd have known that, I would have you know, not continued. Alright, I'm going to back this camera up just slightly. I know I'm playing a lot with the camera in this video, and I'm sorry for that, guys. So, in my tutorial for making crochet bead rope, I believe I talk about 2 different ways to do crochet bead rope. And I know I have a tutorial on how to add crochet or add beadwork to your crochet as well. I think there's like a tutorial for 5 different methods to adding beadwork to your crochet. So you guys can see, if you look on the inside, hopefully you can see. Like that. Refocus. I started this with a round of 6 beads. So I'm not like keeping count of the rows. There's no need to, but so basically that means that I'm going to have six beads every round, no matter what. And the method that I am using to do this particular bracelet is a slip stitch method. Now there is a single crochet method. What the difference is with the slip stitch method, there's not going to be any spaces in between your beads, whereas if you use a single crochet, you are going to have slight spaces and you'll be able to see your thread a little bit. So if you want if you wanted your thread to show, you know, you could use that and it could be like kind of part of the aesthetic, whereas if you use a slip stitch, you won't, you know, you won't see the thread at all, except for right there at the end. You can see it where I'm working, but it's on the inside of the tube. And we have to keep the majority of the beads kind of out of the way. But hopefully you guys will be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to take this tiny little hook, push it under that bead there, and then I move that bead aside, bring this one down, and this thread here actually has to be on top of that bead to keep it down and in place where it's supposed to be. So that is something that you always have to remember, and then you just hook past your bead that you're trying to join and you slip stitch. And of course, there it goes. What that does when you add that new bead right here is it pushes this one down here into a kind of uniform brick pattern. And these things can be, until you get the hang of it, these things can be really hard to start. Like here at the end, these things can be such a pain to start because you're working with such tiny little beads. So the next bead is actually this brown bead right here. So I'm going to take my hook and go underneath. I'm going to make sure that my working thread is on top of that bead. I'm going to bring the next bead down. Hopefully I'm staying in frame. Bring the next bead down. Tighten my tension because it's all over the place right now. This is really hard to do. And with kind of hovering underneath the camera, it's a little bit hard. And then we're just going to hook the thread and slip stitch. And I don't know, you guys probably aren't going to be able to tell, but after a while it starts to spiral because you are working in a spiral and you're just making these little slip stitches on the inside of the tube. I don't know if you guys can see that either. I'm hoping you guys can, but basically you're slip stitching on the inside of the tube and it manages to hold these beads together. So the next bead is blue. We are going to go underneath. Make sure that working thread is on top of that bead there. Bring the next bead down. Hook it. Draw through both loops. And if you do that enough times, you'll have what is called a crochet bead rope. That's all I'm going to show you guys right here, just because I don't know for sure that you guys are actually able to see what I'm doing, and I do already have a tutorial for this, and this is not necessarily a tutorial video. So you know, it makes a cute little bracelet, and you know there are ways to fasten off and turn these into bracelets, which is what I usually do with them. Because they take so long, you know, I don't often have them in my Etsy shop. But I am going to turn my camera around real quick, and we'll talk about it a little bit more if you guys want to stick around for that. Okay, so that is actually one of my longest running projects. Um it's one of my smallest projects and in fact I would say it is my smallest crochet project, and it's also probably my second longest running project. So I wanted to show you guys that. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I really want to put some focus in 2024 on finishing up whips that I have from 2022 as well as 2023. And I really think I'm like, I didn't realize that it already measured 8 inches. So, I mean, it's pretty close to finished. And you guys know I'm on a yarn ban right now, and so I can't buy any yarn, but I did go to artbeads.com the other night and I spent 20 bucks on some new beads. I don't know how many of you guys knew this about me, but before I crocheted regularly, I did off-loom bead weaving with these tiny little seed beads. Making everything from like tapestry to tapestry jewelry, which is a picture that you make. It's kind of like a Grafgan, but with seed beads. and of course you would use, you know, the piece is going to be much smaller, but if you were gonna, you could use corner to corner graphs to do, you know, off-loom bead weaving. And that's what I used to do, particularly before I had Kiwi, because if Kiwi gets into my beads and he swallows them, you know, it would be bad for him. And so I actually gave away like all of my beads, all of them. We're talking about over a decade's worth of beads. I mean, I had been collecting beads since I was like 10, all the way up until about a year ago. And I decided that I wasn't going to do any bead work anymore, particularly not the off-loom bead weaving, because it requires needles and space, and Kiwi can get into them and all of that. And so I gave it all away. And the only project I kept was this bracelet. But the other night I went on there and I thought, well, rather than getting into back into off-loom bead weaving, maybe I can combine the two talents, and maybe I can start doing maybe some more crochet rope bracelets. You know, I could put those in the Etsy shop. Maybe people would be interested in it. And then I get to kind of combine two talents and two hobbies and two expressions of me. I don't know how to put that. Like those are crochet and beads are just two things that I really enjoy, and I can express myself using those things. Kiwi, if you want to talk, you can come down here, sir. You know, so I sat down and I started working on this after I placed a small order. It was only for, like I said, it was only a $20 order for some beads, and I got 3 new colors of designer mixes, and then I think I got 3 new colors of a solid color. Honestly, I'd have to go back and look. I just know I ordered like 3 different colors of each, something like that. If anybody was wondering, these are Toho beads. I will link the stuff, the beads and whatnot, where I purchased these beads in the description box if anybody is interested. I will also, like I said, put links to my tutorials for this stuff. I just wanted to talk a little bit about my goal to finish this project, and surprisingly, during the filming of this video, I have found out that it's pretty close to being finished. Don't forget, y'all, though, to let me know in the comments, do you think I should keep going and go ahead and use all of the beads that were in the vial, or because my only issue with doing that is I probably only have enough beads to get about 2 to maybe 3 more inches, which means it'll be 10 to 11 inches long, and I'll have to then compensate to make it a necklace. I'll have to buy more beads or figure something out to turn it into a necklace. It won't be a full, 18 inches or anything like that. The other option is to take a few rows out or a few rounds out and make it a maybe 7.5 to 8 inch bracelet, which I think I was shooting for a bracelet to begin with when I first started this project. It's hard to know because I started it so long ago. So I would definitely love to hear you guys' opinions on that. Necklace or bracelet? What do you think? But I guess that is all I have for you guys now. I just wanted to, talk about one of my long-term whips. I do have another one, which I will be making a video on at some point. And it is also a very long-term project that is much bigger. So I've got one long-term project that's very tiny and one long-term project that is huge, and it's not a blanket. So you guys can look forward to seeing that video sometime in the upcoming weeks. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all the support you guys have given me. Even if it's just a thumbs up or a comment, I really appreciate these things. At some point, I would love to be fully monetized, to be able to continue to do this to help pay for things like yarn and beads and be able to share all of that with you guys. So if you do like my content, please give this video a thumbs up. Maybe leave a comment below. Even if it's just an emoji, it will make me happy and it will make YouTube happy. YouTube really likes engagement. And if you really like the channel, you can always subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of my videos. You can turn those notifications on. I do try to upload at least 4 times a week. Usually bare minimum is 4 times a week. And then Fridays I go live, and then Saturdays and Sundays, most of the time the only videos that get posted on Saturdays and Sundays are my shorts. So yeah, there's that. If you guys really like my content, you're really into it, give it a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, and you guys will always know when I'm gonna post or when I'm gonna be live. For the most part, my lives are on Fridays at noon Central Standard Time. So yeah, now that I've babbled on all about my channel, I'm gonna let you guys go. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.